The security guard's eyes narrowed as he watched the elderly black man examining high-end rehabilitation equipment. "Can I help you find the exit, sir?" he sneered. Isaiah Washington kept both scarred hands steady, his expression calm despite the insult. Isaiah Washington, 75, lived quietly on the outskirts of Atlanta. Few neighbors knew the weathered black man had once been Command Sergeant Major in Delta Force, one of the military's most elite units. His modest home contained no photographs of his missions, no shadow boxes of medals. The only military item visible was a faded U.S. Army Special Forces cap he occasionally wore while working in his garden. Today, Isaiah drove his well-maintained 1972 Ford pickup to Riverside Galleria, an upscale shopping complex with specialty medical equipment. The Veteran Support Network had asked him to select rehabilitation gear for a wounded Marine who'd lost mobility after 3 tours in Afghanistan. Isaiah wore simple clothes, pressed khaki pants, a blue button-down shirt, and comfortable walking shoes. Nothing about his appearance suggested his distinguished 40-year military career or the classified operations he'd led across 4 continents. His military bearing remained. Perfect posture, alert eyes that noticed everything, and the measured movement of a man who'd operated in environments where carelessness meant death. He parked his truck between luxury vehicles, mentally preparing for the purchase, unaware that his presence in this affluent space would trigger assumptions that would change lives beyond his own. As Isaiah examined a specialized therapeutic chair in Precision Medical, the store's most expensive section, a security guard appeared beside him. "Sir, can I help you find something?" The question sounded helpful, but the tone suggested trespassing. "I'm fine, thank you," Isaiah replied, continuing to check the equipment specifications. The guard didn't leave. "These items start at $8,000, sir. Perhaps I can direct you to our economy section." Isaiah recognized the implication immediately. A black man in casual clothes couldn't possibly afford high-end merchandise. He'd faced similar assumptions throughout his life, from Vietnam to Operation Desert Storm. Military discipline kept his expression neutral. "I'm purchasing for the Veteran Support Network. This specific model was recommended by their physical therapist," Isaiah explained calmly, handing the guard the organization's official request form. The guard barely glanced at it. "Right, and you're authorized to make such expensive purchases." His eyes tracked Isaiah's movements as if expecting theft. A store associate approached nervously. "Is there a problem?" "Just ensuring this gentleman knows where he is," the guard replied. "He's interested in the therapeutic series 7000. The associate's eyebrows rose. "Oh, well, that's quite an investment." Isaiah met their doubting gazes evenly. "I understand the price. I also understand the needs of a Marine recovering from combat injuries." His calm confidence momentarily silenced them, but he saw the security guard discreetly radio for backup. Within minutes, a second security guard appeared, followed by the floor manager, a thin man in an expensive suit who introduced himself as Mr. Reynolds. The 3 formed a semicircle around Isaiah, creating a spectacle visible throughout the store. "Sir, we received concerns about your interest in our premium equipment," Reynolds stated, his voice loud enough for nearby shoppers to hear. "Could I see some identification and method of payment?" Isaiah produced his driver's license and the Veteran Support Network credit card. The manager examined both, then frowned. "This card doesn't match your name," he said accusingly. "It's the organization's card. I'm authorized to use it," Isaiah explained, producing the authorization letter with the VSN director's signature. The manager exchanged glances with the guards. "Well, this could be printed anywhere. I'll need to verify this." "Please do," Isaiah replied, while Reynolds made a show of calling someone. The first guard stepped closer. "We'll need to check your pockets and bag, sir. Store policy for security concerns." Several shoppers had stopped to watch. A woman nearby began recording with her phone. "On what grounds?" Isaiah asked, his voice quiet but firm. Decades of military interrogation resistance training had taught him to question authority respectfully but persistently. "Sir, either comply with our security protocols or leave the premises," the guard demanded. Isaiah noted the gathering crowd, the recording phones, the strategic positioning of the security personnel. His tactical assessment was automatic. They had created a public confrontation, expecting him to react emotionally. "I'd like to speak with your head of security," Isaiah requested. "He's on his way," smirked the first guard. "Meanwhile, step over here away from the merchandise." As if he were a threat. As if his 3 bronze stars, 2 purple hearts, and presidential unit citation meant nothing in this temple of commerce. A middle-aged white man in a Veterans Affairs hospital badge stepped forward from a growing crowd. "Excuse me, but do you know who you're hassling? That's Command Sergeant Major Washington." He addressed my unit before our Gulf deployment. The security guards exchanged glances but remained unmoved. "Sir, please step back. This doesn't concern you," the lead guard said. "The hell it doesn't," the VA employee responded. "This man trained special operators who—" "Sir," Reynolds interrupted, "if you interfere, we'll have you removed as well." Isaiah gently raised his hand. "It's all right. Let them follow their procedure." His voice carried the natural authority of someone accustomed to commanding elite soldiers in life-or-death situations. By now, several customers had their phones out, recording the confrontation. A young woman whispered to her companion, "I'm going to live with this. It's happening again." A store employee, an older black woman, watched from behind counter, her expression troubled. When the security guards turned their attention back to Isaiah, she slipped into the back room. Phone already pressed her ear. "Lieutenant General Henderson?" "Yes, sir. I'm at Riverside Galleria." "Sir, they've got Command Sergeant Major Washington surrounded like a criminal." "Yes, sir. The Precision Medical Store on the north end." Meanwhile, the head of security arrived, a retired police officer with military-style haircut and an imposing presence. He surveyed the scene, nodded to his team, and announced, "Sir, we're going to need you to wait here while we verify your story. Police have been called." The live stream spread rapidly. Elderly black veteran being harassed at Riverside Galleria gained hundreds, then thousands of viewers within minutes. Comments flooded in. "Not again. Man can't even shop while black." "Wait, is that the CSM Washington from Somalia extraction?" Someone tagged the Army pages. Outside the mall, 3 veterans who'd seen the stream were already heading toward the entrance. Inside, shoppers began to gather at a distance, many openly hostile toward the security team. The head of security sensed the shifting atmosphere and grew defensive. "We're simply following protocol for suspicious activity." Isaiah remained standing with parade ground stillness, his breathing measured. He'd stood motionless for 18 hours in a Columbia swamp waiting for narco-terrorists. This was nothing. In his mind, he transported himself back to survival training. Control your breathing, assess your surroundings, identify exit paths, maintain dignity. He'd taught these techniques to countless special operators, including men who later became generals. The security team huddled, visibly uncomfortable with the growing crowd and multiplying cameras. Their body language betrayed increasing uncertainty, but the head of security refused to back down. "Sir, the police will sort this out," he insisted, though his confidence was clearly waning. The distinctive sound of automatic doors sliding open caused heads to turn. A black government SUV with military plates had pulled up directly outside the main entrance, a breach of normal traffic rules. 2 uniformed military police officers entered first, scanning the area with professional efficiency before holding the doors. A tall black man in the immaculate dress uniform of a 4-star general strode in, his presence commanding immediate attention. The silver stars on his shoulders caught the light, and the rows of ribbons on his chest told a story of extraordinary service. A hushed silence fell over the crowd. "Where is he?" the general asked, his voice carrying across the space. The crowd parted. When the general spotted Isaiah surrounded by security personnel, his expression hardened. He approached with measured steps, the military police flanking him. "Command Sergeant Major Washington," the general said, his voice resonating with respect. Isaiah turned and, recognizing the general, automatically straightened to attention. "General Henderson." General Marcus Henderson returned a crisp salute, then turned to face the security team, who stood frozen in confusion. "Which one of you is in charge here?" he demanded. The head of security stepped forward, Nervously, "I am, sir." "Do you have any idea who you've been detaining?" The general's voice was controlled but intense. "This man is Command Sergeant Major Isaiah Washington, one of the most decorated Delta Force operators in American history." A murmur ran through the crowd. "He personally trained me at Fort Bragg in 1991. He led the operation that rescued 14 hostages in Somalia when everyone else said it was impossible. He returned to active duty after September 11th at age 58 because our special operations units needed his expertise." The security team looked increasingly uncomfortable. The manager had gone pale. The techniques he developed for urban extraction saved 23 servicemen during a classified operation I'm still not at liberty to fully discuss. 3 presidents have personally thanked him for missions that remain classified. General Henderson placed his hand on Isaiah's shoulder. "And you're questioning his right to purchase medical equipment for wounded warriors?" The head of security's face flushed with embarrassment. "Sir, we had no idea. We were just following." "Following what?" General Henderson interrupted. "The impulse to assume a black man doesn't belong in your store? To humiliate a veteran with 40 years of distinguished service." The crowd had grown to over 50 people. Phones captured everything. An elderly woman pushed forward through the crowd. "That's the man who built my grandson's wheelchair ramp last summer. Wouldn't take a penny for it. He volunteers at the VA hospital every Tuesday," added the VA employee who had first spoken up. General Henderson nodded. "Command Sergeant Major Washington never stopped serving." "Did he?" The manager stepped forward, visibly shaken. "Sir, Mr. Washington, we sincerely apologize for this misunderstanding." Isaiah, who had remained silent throughout the revelations, finally spoke. His voice was quiet, but carried the weight of authority. "This isn't about me," he said. "This is about how quickly we judge people based on appearance. I've seen the same mistake made in villages from Vietnam to Afghanistan. Young men following protocols without context or compassion." He turned to the security guards. "You were doing your job as you understood it. The question is, will you learn from this moment, or will someone else pay the price next time?" The simplicity and dignity of his response struck the crowd silent. Here was a man who had every right to be furious, speaking instead with the measured wisdom of a true leader. The store director had arrived, horrified by the scene unfolding on social media. "Command Sergeant Major Washington, please accept our deepest apologies. Whatever you were looking to purchase today is on the house. It's the least we can do." The store director's offer hung in the air. Isaiah considered it for a moment, then shook his head. "That's not necessary. But what would matter is ensuring this doesn't happen to others." General Henderson stepped forward. "Command Sergeant Major Washington leads a program called Rebuilding Warriors, providing adaptive equipment for disabled veterans. Perhaps Riverside Galleria could support that mission instead." The director, sensing both an opportunity for redemption and positive publicity, nodded eagerly. "Absolutely. We would be honored to make a substantial donation and provide equipment at cost moving forward." The head of security removed his cap. "Sir, I served 4 years in the Army before this job. I should have known better, should have looked beyond appearances." His voice cracked slightly. "I'd like to volunteer some time with your program, if you'd have me." Isaiah studied the man, then extended his hand. "Tuesday evenings, VA hospital. We can always use more help." As they shook hands, applause broke out among the onlookers. The store director announced immediately that all security staff would undergo new training on respectful engagement, with special attention to avoiding bias. General Henderson addressed the crowd. "Let this be a reminder that our heroes don't always wear uniforms or medals. Sometimes they drive old pickup trucks and quietly continue their service without recognition." Isaiah selected the rehabilitation equipment with the store director's full attention and assistance. What had begun as a humiliating detention had transformed into a moment of education and reconciliation. As they left, General Henderson walking alongside his former instructor, a young security guard asked Isaiah, "Sir, how you stay so calm when people disrespect you?" Isaiah paused. "When you face real danger for your country, you learn what battles actually matter." Within 24 hours, The video had been viewed over 5 million times. Major news networks picked up the story, running headlines like Black Delta Force legend profiled while shopping and 4-star general defends veteran targeted by store security. Riverside Galleria faced intense public scrutiny. Their initial statement claiming standard security protocols only fueled the backlash. They quickly revised their approach, announcing a $250,000 donation to Rebuilding Warriors and mandatory bias training for all employees. The security company faced its own reckoning. Their CEO, a Marine veteran herself, personally visited Isaiah to apologize and announce new hiring initiatives focused on veterans. Isaiah's Rebuilding Warriors program, previously operating on a shoestring budget, suddenly found itself with nationwide support. Donations poured in, over $700,000 in the first week, enabling them to clear their entire waiting list of 48 disabled veterans needing adaptive equipment. The head of security, James Brennan, made good on his promise. He began volunteering weekly, eventually becoming a key organizer for the program. Command Sergeant Major Washington taught me more about leadership in one interaction than I learned in 4 years of service, he told a local newspaper. Several security officers joined him, forming a regular volunteer corps. The store implemented a new training video featuring Isaiah himself, who reluctantly agreed to share his perspective. His only request was that it focus not on his military accomplishments, but on the human dignity everyone deserves regardless of appearance. Look deeper than the surface, he told trainees. Service comes in many forms. 3 months later, General Henderson visited Isaiah's home. They sat on the porch watching fireflies, 2 drinks on the table between them. You turned it around, Command Sergeant Major. Like always. Isaiah shook his head. They turned it around themselves. All they needed was to see clearly. The Rebuilding Warriors program had expanded to 3 states. Isaiah still drove his old pickup, still dressed simply, still approached life with quiet dignity. But now when he entered Riverside Galleria, security guards didn't follow him, they saluted. This story reminds us all, behind unassuming appearances often lie extraordinary lives of service. How many heroes do we pass daily without recognition? How often do our biases blind us to the true character of others? If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs this reminder. Have you witnessed similar situations or experienced unfair judgment? Leave your thoughts below. Together, we can build a world where respect comes first, not last.